Prayer is power. When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Pray. 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 Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. 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 When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. 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 Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Prayer is power. When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. Pray. Pray.
Welcome, everyone, to Dr. Pillai's Religion of Religions YouTube channel. We're about to do a program that is an in-depth planetary puja using the chart of now based on the location where I am at the moment, which is in Florida. Today's Friday, so we do have to make sure that we end by a certain time so that Ronnie has the Zoom channel available for the next program that'll be coming right up. So I won't be able to do as much talking or explaining as I do on some of the other days. So we're just going to actually do the puja and go straight through that. Okay. So again, my name is Swamini Valli. I am a Pillai Center teacher and an AstroVed astrologer. Very happy to be hosting this call Monday through Friday. Dr. Pillai has said the planets and the stars are more than just objects in outer space. There's also a divine light being associated with all of them. And as we do the puja, we're invoking the blessings, the positive blessings of these various light beings. We're working with the chart of now. We're using the South Indian style chart. There's a tutorial video, South Indian style chart below the YouTube video if you're not familiar with this layout. Each of the boxes is representing a zodiac sign. AC, which for several weeks was up here in Leo, is now moved down here into Virgo. This stands for ascendant. This is a sign coming up on the eastern horizon right now in my local area. We're going to work with the chart. We'll start with the ascendant sign here, and then we'll go in a clockwise direction around the chart, invoking the various planets, the stars they're in, the archetypes that rule the stars, the planets that rule the stars, and the planets that rule the signs that have other planets in them. I have on a side table, I have a little chalkboard that has this chart drawn in chalk, and I'm going to offer flower petals on top of the blackboard, on top of the chalk, as we go along with the puja. I also have a lit tea light. I have a little container of water. I have a hand fan, and I also have a bell. You're not required to do the puja yourself. You're welcome to just listen to it. But I know some of you are drawing it either on a chalkboard or a whiteboard or even just a piece of paper. Some of you may just have a saucer that you're putting in front of a 9-planet yantra or in front of the screen, and that's fine too. Dr. Pillai has said all of the names of each of these beings is a divine sound, a quantum sound, a mantra. So even just hearing the names of all these different beings as we go along is also bringing in blessings to all of us. So however you choose to participate is totally fine. I'm going to start with taking a little container of water, taking the ring finger of my right hand, dipping that in there and sprinkling a few drops on all 4 sides of the blackboard to purify the space, sprinkling a few drops on top of my head to purify me, and shooting a few drops into space towards all of you, whether you're watching it live or watching the replay later, so that all of us are purified and participating in the puja in a sacred space. Next, we're going to invoke Ganesha, the archetype who removes obstacles. We'll use the mantra Om Sring Gung, Sring Gung. Om Sring Gung, Om Sring Gung, Om Sring Gung. We ask Ganesha to come and to remove all obstacles from this ritual, this puja, and we thank him for his help with this. Now we do a short Tamil chant, asking all of the planets to be beneficial towards us. Asura Nalla Nalla, Ave Nalla Nalla, Atiyar Avar Kumikave. Asura Nalla Nalla, Ave Nalla Nalla, Atiyar Avar Kumikave. Asura Nalla Nalla, Ave Nalla Nalla, Atiyar Avar Kumikave. We ask all of the planets and divine beings that we're about to invoke to be beneficial towards all of us. We thank Saint Jonas Samundar for creating this hymn, and we're grateful to Dr. Pillai for sharing it with us. Now we're going to honor various time elements that are active right now: the planet that rules the day, the star that the moon is in, the moon phase or the tithi, the planet that rules the hour or the hora, and we'll also mention the yoga and the karana. We start with honoring the planet that rules the day. Today is Friday, which is ruled by Venus. We honor Venus, and I put flower petals on top of him on my chalkboard as we invoke him. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Now we honor the star that the moon is in. Right now, the moon is in a star called Vishaka, a star that can give energies of success and victory. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of the moon. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Now we honor the tithi, or the moon phase. Right now we're in the 8th waxing moon, which is called Ashtami in Sanskrit. Dr. Pillai said we would use the Sanskrit name followed by the word Devi, invoking the light being associated with this moon phase. I put the flower petals on top of the moon. Om Ashtami Devye Namaha. Om Ashtami Devye Namaha. Om Ashtami Devye Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules the hour. In my local area right now, we're in an hour today that's ruled by Saturn. We honor Saturn, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. For the yoga and the karana, Dr. Pillai said we wouldn't offer flower petals. We would just say their names 3 times each. The yoga right now is one called Sukla, which has the energy of bright focus. Sukla, Sukla, Sukla. And the karana right now is one called Bhava, which has energies of creativity. Bhava, Bhava, Bhava. Now we turn our attention to the chart of the moment. At the moment, the ascendant is in the sign of Kanya or Virgo. Dr. Pillai said we would always start with whatever sign is the ascendant and honor the planet that's ruling the ascendant. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. We honor Mercury, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Now we go in a clockwise direction from the ascendant to the next sign that has planets in it. This is Libra or Tula, which today contains the moon and also Ketu. They're both in the same star, so I'll invoke both the planets before I invoke the star. We start with invoking the moon. I put flower petals on him. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Next, we invoke Ketu, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Both the moon and Ketu are in the star Vishaka. This is a star that can give competitive impulses, and it can help propel us towards success, victory, triumph. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals across both of them. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Vishaka star is ruled by a pair of archetypes, Indra and Agni. Indra can give blessings of leadership and courage, and Agni can give blessings for transformation and purification. We honor both of them. Om Indra Agniye Namaha. Om Indra Agniye Namaha. Om Indra Agniye Namaha. Vishaka star is ruled by Jupiter. We honor Jupiter, and I put the flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Libra, which is Venus. I put the flower petals on top of him. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Tula or Libra, a zodiac sign with energies of balance and harmony, today containing the moon, which is our mind and our emotions, and Ketu, who is sometimes called the saintly planet. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Makara or Capricorn, which today contains Pluto retrograde and also Saturn retrograde. When planets are retrograde, they are extra powerful. We're honoring the three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because this year Dr. Pillai had statues made for all three of them and had them energized in a fire ceremony and had them put into his temple in India. So I found out what were the mantras used when they energized them in the fire lab, and those are the mantras we use as we invoke them. We start with honoring Pluto, and the mantra we use for him is Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. I put the flower petals on Pluto. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Pluto is in a star called Uttarashada. This is a star that can give blessings of success, especially blessings for long-lasting success. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Pluto. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Uttarashada star is ruled by the 10 Visvadevas, archetypes who each represent a unique universal divine principle. We ask for blessings from all of them. I put the flower petals on Pluto. Om Visvadevasyes Namaha. Om Visvadevasyes Namaha. Om Visvadevasyes Namaha. Uttarashada star is ruled by the sun. We honor the sun, and I put flower petals on him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Now we honor Saturn for being in Capricorn, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Saturn is in a star called Dhanishta. This is a star that can give blessings for wealth, for music, for good reputation. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Saturn. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Dhanishta star is ruled by the 8 Vasus, light beings who each rule different spheres of existence. We honor them, and I put the flower petals on top of Saturn. Om Vasusye Namaha. Om Vasusye Namaha. Om Vasusye Namaha. Dhanishta star is ruled by Mars. We honor Mars, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Capricorn, which is Saturn. Again, we invoke Saturn, and I put more flower petals on top of him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Makara or Capricorn, a sign that can activate ancient past life skills and abilities. Today containing Pluto, a planet that can help with rationality and science, and Saturn, a planet that can give blessings for patience, compassion, discipline, organization. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Meena or Pisces, which today contains Neptune retrograde and also Jupiter retrograde. Again, when planets are retrograde, they are extra powerful. We honor Neptune, and we will use the mantra Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. I put the flower petals on top of Neptune. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Neptune is in a star called Purvabhadrapada. This is a star with the fire of Kundalini and a star of purification. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Neptune. Om Purvabhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Purvabhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Purvabhadrapadaye Namaha. Purvabhadrapada star is ruled by Aja Ekapada, a one-footed archetype who can give blessings to help us experience deeper levels of silence and forgiveness. We ask for his blessings. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Purvabhadrapada's star is ruled by Jupiter. We honor Jupiter, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we honor Jupiter for being in Pisces. We invoke him again, and I put more flower petals on him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Jupiter is in a star called Uttarabhadrapada. Dr. Pillai says this is a star that can help us with business development. We ask for blessings from this star, and I put the flower petals on Jupiter. Om Uttarabhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttarabhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttarabhadrapadaye Namaha. Uttarabhadrapada star is ruled by an archetype called Aja Ekapada. Among other things, this is an archetype who can help guard precious things, our treasures, help keep our valuables safe. We ask for his blessings, and I put the flower petals on top of Jupiter. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Uttarabhadrapada star is ruled by Saturn. We honor Saturn, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Pisces, which is Jupiter. Again, we invoke Jupiter, and I put more flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Meena or Pisces, the most metaphysical and transcendental of all the zodiac signs, today containing Neptune, a planet who helps to develop our intuition and our ability to understand our inner self, and Jupiter, planet who helps us to be receptive to spiritual teachings, helps us to have a positive relationship with our spiritual teachers, and helps us to have good relationships with our spiritual communities. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Mesha or Aries, which today contains Rahu, Uranus, and Mars. Right now, Rahu and Uranus are in the same star, so I will invoke both of those planets before I invoke the star, and then we'll move on to the Mars after that. We start with Rahu. I put flower petals on him. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Next, we invoke Uranus, and we'll use the mantra Om Hram Prajapataye Namaha. I put flower petals on Uranus. Om Ram Prajapataye Namaha. Om Ram Prajapataye Namaha. Om Ram Prajapataye Namaha. Rahu and Uranus are both in a star called Bharani, a star symbolized as the yoni, the female private parts. This is a star with a tremendous amount of divine feminine Shakti, or energy, or power. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals across both Uranus and Rahu. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Bharani star is ruled by Yama. Among other things, Yama is an archetype of justice. We invoke his blessings. Om Yamaye Namaha. Om Yamaye Namaha. Om Yamaye Namaha. Barney's star is ruled by Venus. We honor Venus, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Now we invoke Mars for being in Aries. I put flower petals on top of Mars. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Mars has moved into a star called Kritika. This is a star of truth. We honor Kritika star, and I put the flower petals on top of Mars. Om Kritikaye Namaha. Om Kritikaye Namaha. Om Kritikaye Namaha. Kritika star is ruled by Agni, the archetype of fire. We honor Agni, and I put the flower petals on top of Mars. Om Agniye Namaha. Om Agniye Namaha. Om Agniye Namaha. Kritika star is ruled by the sun. We honor the sun, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Aries, which is Mars. Again, we invoke Mars, and I put more flower petals on top of him. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Misha, or Aries, a fire sign and a sign with very active energies. Today containing Rahu, the planet that helps us to think outside the box. Uranus, a planet that helps with high intelligence and innovation and astrology. And Mars, a planet that has both warrior and healer energies. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Mithuna or Gemini, which today contains Venus. We honor Venus, and I put the flower petals on top of him. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Venus is in a star called Purnuvasu. This star is associated with freedom-loving energies. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Venus. Om Purnuvasaye Namaha. Om Purnuvasaye Namaha. Om Purnuvasaye Namaha. Purnuvasu's star is ruled by a goddess called Aditi. She is a goddess who's considered to be the mother of many of the archetypes, including our own sun. We invoke her for her maternal compassion, protection, and love. I put the flower petals on top of Venus. Om Aditye Namaha. Om Aditye Namaha. Om Aditye Namaha. Purnuvasu's star is ruled by Jupiter. We honor Jupiter, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Gemini, which is Mercury. I put the flower petals on top of Mercury. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Matuna or Gemini, a sign with a great range of energies, today containing Venus, planet of happiness, diplomacy, beauty, and planet that helps us to enjoy material plane comforts. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Karkata or Cancer, which today contains the sun. We honor the sun, and I put the flower petals on top of him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Saturn is in a star called Aslesha, a star of mystical power. We invoke blessings from this star, and I put the flower petals on top of the sun. Om Asleshaye Namaha. Om Asleshaye Namaha. Om Asleshaye Namaha. Aslesha star is ruled by the Nagas, ancient archetypes who have great wisdom and know secrets about cycles of time. We invoke their blessings, and I put the flower petals on top of the sun. Om Nagasye Namaha. Om Nagasye Namaha. Om Nagasye Namaha. Aslesha star is ruled by by the planet Mercury. We honor Mercury, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. The sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. We honor the moon, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Karkata or Cancer, the most emotionally sensitive of all the zodiac signs. Today containing the sun, which is our soul, and also a planet important for our health, as the sun gives life-affirming energies. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Simha or Leo, which today contains Mercury. We honor Mercury, and I put the flower petals on top of him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Mercury is in a star called Magga, a star that can help with royalty consciousness. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Mercury. Om Maggaye Namaha. Om Maggaye Namaha. Om Maggaye Namaha. Magga star is ruled by the Petris, deified forms of the ancestors who have moved into higher planes of light. We invoke their blessings, and I put the flower petals on top of Mercury. Om Petrisye Namaha. Om Petrisye Namaha. Om Petrisye Namaha. Magga star is ruled by Ketu. We honor Ketu, and I put the flower petals on top of him. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Leo, which is the sun. We invoke the sun, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om, excuse me. Yes. Om Suryaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Simha or Leo, the sign of the lion, the sign of power, great energy. Today containing Mercury, planet of communication, and also the planet of commercial success with business, and the planet that rules electronics and computers. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. Now I take a lit tea light and I hold it above the blackboard that has the chart drawn on it and has all these little flower petals on the different areas where we place them. And I'm going to pass it over the chart 3 times in a clockwise direction, offering the element of light to all of the divine beings that we have just invoked. Now, I take a little hand fan. You could use an incense stick, but I have a housemate who is sensitive to scent. So I'm just waving a little hand fan around 3 times for the element of air, offering a cooling breeze to all of these divine beings. And next, I take a bell and I offer the element of sound. Now I make prayer hands and I make sincere prayer. We ask all of these divine beings that we have just invoked to send their positive blessings into us, into our families, our friends, our colleagues, our neighbors. We ask them to bless our homes, our workplaces, our schools. We ask them to bless our communities, our countries, and indeed the entire planet. We pray to them, may everyone on this planet have healthy food to eat, clean water to drink, a safe place to live, clean air to breathe, access to health care, good education, sustainable jobs, and may everyone on this planet have love in their life, now and always. We make prayer to them for enlightened leaders, enlightened citizens, enlightened laws, enlightened countries, and entire enlightened civilizations. And we thank them for their help with this. And I make a bow. You can continue making your own prayers for just a minute, and then I have a very short Q&A period. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Peace to the body, peace to the mind, peace to the soul, peace to the environment, peace, peace, peace. May we all go about our day or our evening in peace. I'm grateful to Dr. Pillai for allowing us to do this puja and for his support of the Religion of Religion channel programs. And I'm grateful to all of you, whether you're watching it live or watching the replay later. Thank you for your participation and support. I can take a short amount of questions if anyone has them and wants to post them into the chat. On Fridays, we do have to end a little bit early because Ronnie will need the Zoom channel for another Religion of Religions program that will be coming up. Or she needs it for the Shrimbrasi community call, I think, on the Shrimbrasi channel. Ranak is saying, does Mars moving to Kritika further increase the fire element since Mars is in Aries and now Kritika star? I would say yes to that, Ranak, because Mars is in a fire sign and the Kritika star himself is ruled by Agni, the element of the god who rules the element of fire. Kritika star is in the Pleiadian system, and it's said that Muruga himself has connection with the Pleiadian system, and Muruga is the archetype who rules Mars. So I think there is an extra Mars energy when he moves into Kritika star. Kritika star is symbolized as a cutter or a sharp thing like a razor. And it's the star of truth, but it's like star that really cuts through, and goes right to the core of things. I have a friend who has their moon is in the Kritika star in the birth chart. And if I ask this person a question, I might get a very blunt, truthful answer. And sometimes I might wince and the person might say, well, if you didn't want to know the answer, why did you ask the question? So that's Kritika star. It really cuts through to truth. So we want that star to help us to look at the truth about ourselves, to look at the truth about our situation, and to, be willing to be honest and not be in a state of illusion. So yes, it does increase the fire element or that fire energy a bit more, Ranak. That's a good question. Thank you for that. Mars has been in Bharani for several, days now, but now he's moved on to Kritika star. Okay. Welcome to Pamela, who says she forgot to sign in. It's okay. You don't have to sign in on the chat. It's fun to see who's there in the beginning when you pop your welcome messages in. It is fun to see that. Lakshmi S is expressing her appreciation. Oh, happy to have you here, Lakshmi S. So welcome, everyone. So that was perhaps our one question for Q&A for today. I'm going to go ahead and end so that Ronnie has the Zoom channel for setting up and doing her program. I think it's the Shrimbrasi community call that's coming up next. There are other programs on this channel. We hope that you will check them out as well, and hope that you will press the like button and also subscribe to the channel to help the channel to grow. I'll be here again next week, Monday through Friday. Blessings to all of you. Have a beautiful weekend. Namaste.